Oh, absolutely. You think I want to talk about this elimination or this
I mean, I'm
or
gonna
this
tell you right.
baby?
I'm gonna tell you right now. The ending, like 2 minutes of just Frank being like, "Yeah, it's me," like is is the best.
That was pretty great. And I haven't sent out this tweet yet because I wasn't able to get the screenshot. But basically, I wanted to congratulate Frank on sharing his pronouns and coming out as they, not them. Like he really is an ally. I don't know what it is, but he just, came out as they. That's absolutely hilarious. I don't think Frank, God, how's he ever going to play another season with this shit on him?
Here's the thing though. I think Frank's well aware that he's not going to be like if he returns, it'll be down the line. Like this
Right.
is like, hey, let's come back for All Stars. It's a short time. You can get back to your day-to-day life. And I think he was like all about it. And it was like, yeah, let's do it. So I think when you have that mindset of like, I'm not going to see these guys probably maybe ever again, who knows, in a game, you can you can play a little more loose and reckless, you know.
Reckless it is. And it's funny because I was thinking too, I was just like, here goes the funny thing is, I'm never wrong. I'm like always right. Like not 100%, because nobody can be 100%. But I'm
Yeah,
usually always right.
you're in
In
the
fact,
ballpark.
I'm always so right, I can remember the last time I was wrong. Would you like to know when that was?
I would like to know when that was.
It was in 1998.
Okay.
And me and my friends were talking about stuff, and I remember I made a statement, and I remember because it was a statement that was so wrong, none of my friends will ever let me forget it. And the statement was, uh, listen, Ryan Leaf is the obvious number one draft pick for for this. Peyton Manning is he may be a number two, maybe even a number three, but Ryan Leaf is the obvious first choice. And
Not
yeah,
only not
very
only
wrong.
wrong, not only wrong, but the most wrong you
The,
could be. The most wrong.
he was the number one biggest draft bust all the way up into Jamarcus Russell.
Right. But that's just because Jamarcus Russell just I don't think he like wanted to play like football. I think he just wanted to make some money and get out.
Oh, 31 million guaranteed. I remember I was at Oakland Coliseum when he came back after that, and people were booing him. And I looked at my dad like, man, the people are so harsh. Why are they? But he snapped at me. He's just like, no, he deserves to get booed. He held out for $31 million. They paid him, and he stinks. And we haven't heard so much from him from that. I think he's a high school coach now, right?
Maybe. I'm not sure. There's a lot of pros right now that are like former pros that are like getting into the world of coaching. It's pretty cool. So
As they should. Let's go ahead and bring this episode in. What's really good? I am MTV Malik. He is Tyler Louder. This is Love War Challenges. What's poppin'? All right, today we find out Frank apparently is untrustworthy and might be kind of a snake. I mean, who could have ever seen that shit coming?
but here's the biggest thing about that whenever we talk about this happens like almost every season of the challenge. When somebody is very untrustworthy, it means that they are still trustworthy, just not to you. Like
Exactly.
he's trustworthy to Ashley and Dario and to Veronica and Katie. He's just not trustworthy to you. You're not in his plans. And as he would say, sorry, babe. Like that's that's
You
just
know,
how it is.
it's crazy because and we're gonna get to this a little bit more when we get to deliberation, but at the beginning in the A block, everybody's trying to decide how this house flip got pulled off. And Amber seems to be the only person to identify Veronica, even though she later on calls out Frank. I don't know. Was she right or was she wrong? Because she seemed to identify Veronica in the beginning, but then called out Frank at the liberation. But in reality, nobody from the house seemed to really know what's going on. I mean, is it impressive that Amber is kind of able to put her finger on this more, or is it more embarrassing that the rest of the house hasn't been able to figure this out during the A block of the show?
So I mean, obviously we see that Corey Lay told her like Veronica's the one spreading some misinformation. And so
And he
like
was right.
she and he was right. She is. But however, we learn at the very end of everything that it's Frank and he's planting seeds everywhere and that's where this happens and it's like he's not walking room to room like Veronica was. Like everybody can see Veronica going and talking to everybody. So it's easier to, oh yeah, it's her. It's not me. It's her. And Amber is maybe the only person that kind of knows it. Like we talk about Shane, and Shane is all like, And later on, Shane's clearly throwing rumors out there and spreading stuff, but it's mainly just because he's upset at Frank. It's not actually because he has any clear cut evidence. It's just that he thinks so. And so yeah, I mean, there's Amber, I think is just actually, I don't know. Fessy said it best. She plays too emotional. She plays the heart too much. She's believes too much good about people and everything. I'm not sure if that has anything to do with like her autism, like being just a kind person and trusts people really well. But I'll tell you this though, once you do her wrong though, she doesn't just like forgive really easy. Like it takes a while.
No, because even Fessy doesn't look like he was easily what do you call it?
Redeemed himself
Forgiven.
or
Yeah,
forgiven. Yeah.
exactly. I think he did show that he was really down for her and he was really going to protect her. I mean, that's
Mhm.
his partner. You really have no choice in the matter.
Right.
Unless you're Johnny Bananas in the beginning of yeah, with Sarah. That was yeah, he looked like he didn't care at all. But I think that Fessy is I think he's genuine in that. He knows he did something wrong. He know it wasn't cool, knows that she is in fact trustworthy,
Yeah.
which makes today even more and more disappointing. Now, Frank, Frank and Veronica are so much on the same page because they had the same exact game plan. Get rid of strong players who can fuck us up in the final, which is
Yeah.
pretty much 90% of the. I mean, it's pretty much the whole entire cast. So
Well,
they.
the problem is that some of those teams went home really early.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, they've lost Beth and John A, Anissa and Ashley, and Big T and Corey. Like, those are three teams that you wanted there with you, and they're gone. And yeah,
So does it feel like they kind of shot themselves in the foot a little bit? I mean, it was good having Adam and Steve as the main, as you know, as the main targets. I'm glad to see them off the hook a little bit, and things are getting mixed up, and it's a little bit more fair. But I mean, do you feel like it was less helpful now than it was then?
no, because at the end of the day, like Adam and Steve were voted in by the House of Vote, which is something that Frank and Veronica had control over. Now, who went in against them and everything, they didn't have say against it until they sent in Devin and Leroy. I mean, so the last two times that we've seen votes really get switched on their head that have a big impact on the game, Frank and or Veronica, to a lesser point, have had their hands on it in Devin and Leroy leaving and Amber and Fessy leaving. Because of them, two strong teams have went. The two strongest teams have went. Now, I still think that there is one, maybe two teams that like Frank and Sam could beat in a final. I don't think Katie and Veronica could beat anybody in a final unless it's like All Stars 4. But even if it's like All Stars 4, when they got down to the final 14 for people, I don't think that they could have kept up in
Oh,
that aspect.
100%. If they make it to a final, their goal is just to be able to finish it. I wouldn't
Yeah.
expect them to place in anything. Let's go ahead and move on to today's daily. Today's daily is called Blow Your Mind. There's going to be 8 lanes for each of the remaining teams. That's happen opposite ends. You got to solve a puzzle, blow it up, jump through it, and use all of the information from the puzzle to complete a final puzzle in the beginning, and it looks to be clock based. I did not watch a second of this.
Oh, I watched it. I mean, it's kind of it was entertaining because normally when they do these puzzles, you can just quickly go by it and try and fix it and then run back. But the
Hmm.
fact that you had to burn up what your information
Burn the
was
boats.
and now it's gone. But when you burn it, it burns both people at the same time. So and you have to hope that without communicating to your partner that they're ready to go. And so it's a cool aspect on this twist of this puzzle.
Very
We
interesting.
there was a really cool photo shot of it. Fessy jumped through while
Yeah,
it was burning. Like
I did see that, and I'm pretty sure he was well aware of that the whole time. Um, Now, granted, even though I wasn't really paying attention to it, there was a couple of great moments that stuck out to me. One, yes, Fessy jumping through the burning
mhm.
puzzle, uber cool. That's going to be on his Instagram probably. Um, Dario pulling out the fake check and causing everybody else to yell check. Just, I thought that was a really, I mean, for a player who's known to have his head up his ass, that was a real heads up play.
Yeah, I mean, also we have to hindsight because those interviews are afterwards.
Of course.
So he could have just checked because he thought he was right. And then afterwards goes in confessional is like, nah, I planned to do that to mess
Let's
everybody
give the
else
dummy the
up.
benefit of the doubt.
I'm just saying hindsight. But yes, it was right away. He does it and it frazzles like 4 or 5 teams right away. And we only see two teams continue to work on it. And there you go. Who's still working on it? some of our crafty vets. We're talking Shane, Veronica, Katie, some older players, and they take their time because they listen. Veronica, like she even says, I heard what TJ said. I know I don't have to do this fast. I just got to do it correct.
And
So,
that was another thing that stuck out to me was Veronica really identifying what this challenge was really about. And also that this was one of the most definitive. Anybody can win this one. Everybody has
yep.
a fair shot and it could go either way, which even more so to the point of never being wrong. I was talking about never being wrong earlier. And the point of that story was I was so wrong last week when I was saying, oh, Veronica and Katie are going to get swift retribution for
Like
what
they're
they did.
done. Yeah.
And they fuck around and probably win the most important daily for them. This was the one that they had to win above all else. Because even if they would have won the first one and got a star, they would have been targeted so early, it would have really changed how this game was played. But after doing what Veronica did and kind of having all eyes on her for being, kind of snaky in the house, they needed to win this one more than anything, and they did. That was
And, and
timely.
we also see because if Shane and Devon would have won, regardless of the house vote, they would have thrown in Frank and Sam,
Hmm.
which would have hurt Veronica's game regardless. And Veronica actually and Kitty would have been voted in by the house, and then Frank and Sam get thrown in. And that's probably what would end up happening if Shane and Devon end up winning. So not only did it save her game, saved her alliance, helped in this game make a power play, and also now there's 7 teams left. There's a line drawn. There's numbers.
you know, I wasn't a huge fan of the daily, wasn't a huge fan of the elimination, but the drama in the house was doing this damn thing today.
And
And
public votes, public
public votes
votes.
are just the absolute best. It's what we've been missing. So it was really great that they pulled this off. It couldn't have been written out any better. This win couldn't have been any more timely. And then we get to my favorite part, the mad dash and the politicking.
Mhm.
Despite what happened last week, this is where lines get drawn. You got half of the house wanting to put in Frank and Sam, and you got the other half wanting to put in Fessy and Amber. To
Yep.
put it, it's crazy how the weak teams are the ones in control. And this is what the challenge house gets for sleeping on crafty veterans who can make something happen with very limited power, with just the gift of gab. And Veronica, for all of her physical inabilities, is masterful at this. And I'm telling you what, if Anissa had half of the gift of gab that Veronica has, she might have been the champion at this point.
Well, I think the big thing is that this. Remember when I was talking about a couple episodes ago, a couple weeks ago, I was like, Steve and Adam need to go leverage. Like, don't send us in. We will do like that. You have to work to get the game on your side. And that's what Veronica's really good at. And that's what she does. And to another extent, Frank is really good at that behind the scenes. I know Melissa was kind of mad when Veronica was like, "If you don't vote with us, I'm putting you in."
Man,
And Melissa got all mad, and it's like, well, no, but if you're gonna backstab your alliance, they're gonna throw you right into elimination. Like,
you know what? Veronica got nasty really fast. And don't get me wrong, this is a 100% a mean girl bullying move, but it is a game move.
I
Hey,
think it's justified.
oh no, 100% justified. You're trying to win. And if you got to strong arm some people into do what you want them to do, I really like Melissa's response to it. Melissa got fiery. Melissa does not like being threatened, does not like being told what to do. And I don't think she particularly wants to align with Veronica. I was actually really disappointed in Nicole that she kind of bent the knee to Veronica on this because now look at what the side you're aligning on. And I think it's because Nicole being paired with Melissa identifies herself as one of the weaker teams. So she needs to be on the weaker team side to get rid of the stronger teams, which, to be honest, I don't believe. Both of those girls are finalists. I believe they are the strongest woman team left. They're still there for a
Well,
reason.
there's only 2 of them, but yeah, I know what
Yeah,
you're saying.
but but even then, probably the strongest woman team that we have. I mean,
Yeah.
Sylvia and Kellyanne was formidable, but they got the
Mm.
numbers.
So here's the big thing though, and I that's where I kind of disagree. Like I think it was good that Nicole didn't bend to Melissa and forced her in this role. Let's just say things play out how everybody wants it on one side, right? That means we're gonna have Frank and Sam in the final. We're
Hmm.
gonna have Melissa and Nicole, Veronica and Katie, and then we'll just say Shane and Davon. That means Nicole and Melissa have a really good chance at winning the final. And Nicole said it best. She goes, I don't have to do all the politics. I don't have to do this stuff. I make it far in games. I make finals. I know what I'm doing. The Nicole's game is I don't go in. That's the thing. I don't go into elimination. I don't take risks. I don't make these big moves and everything. I just kind of float and have people that have my back. And that's a game that Casey plays, and it is a winning game
It
at
is a winning
times.
strategy, and if used right, it definitely can be. It might be that I'm kind of biased because me personally, this isn't the side that I would align on. So, um, man, do you think that's going to have a positive or negative effect on Nicole and Melissa going forward?
I think there's going to be like some type of outburst where like they're going to put another target on their back.
Oh,
But
yes.
this time it's actually going to be Melissa who's going to put the target on her back because she's going to openly be upset at like Frank and Veronica, and then they're going to be like, "Well, you're going in now. Like nothing we can do, Nicole.
And nobody
Melissa's
on the other side
attacking
trusts
us."
her. They they teed themselves up to be an easy next vote, and
Well,
I could.
that's the thing. Shane doesn't trust Nicole right now. I don't think Nani trusts Nicole, so it's like they can't go over there. So
No, they thought that Nicole and Melissa was going to vote their way. So they public enemy number one. And this is, I gotta give it up to Frank and Veronica, man. Look at all of the people they just put in front of them at the right time. So everybody knows they have to go after Frank and Veronica at some point, but there's always somebody that got to get it first.
mhm.
Ingenious. So the House vote doesn't go the way it goes. Melissa Nicole turns. I wouldn't say turn on their alliance because it was kind of playing the middle, because that team is split down the middle on which side. But they decide to vote Veronica and Katie's way, and Amber and Fessel are going in. I do love the fact that Amber called out Frank in the middle of it.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
thought that was smart because I think looking at it, they would assume that they might be coming back, even though the writing was on the wall that it was going to be Turbo and Nani. But I would have felt confident too. Um,
Well, what I find interesting is like even Davon went in on like said something about Frank. But what I find really interesting is that the whole time she's talking, getting upset at Frank and all this stuff, Shane's just smiling. Like, Davon, you remember why you and Shane are rivals, right? Like because the way he talks and the way he spreads information and the way he gossips and everything. Like you don't like that part of the game. And Shane plays a really cutthroat game, like a really anybody but me cutthroat game. I'll throw you in if I need to and everything. And I don't blame Shane. Shane wanting to get rid of Frank so that way he can be Veronica's number one is a smart move. We saw it happen with Leroy and Zach and Wes back on X's too. Hey, Leroy, if you can't be my number one, but if Zach is gone, you can be my number one. But I'm not telling you to put in Zach, but I'm just telling you the information. And like
I,
that's how it is.
I also feel like Shane is justified in feeling like Veronica traded, uh, traded her gay best friend. She does feel very aligned with Frank, but I also think that's because their gameplay is so aligned. They're 100% on the same page, and they know they have to stick together if they're going to make it. I mean, shit, they're the ones who they want to go against. You
I
know?
mean, do you remember the car you drove in high school? Like, and you love it. It's great. It's got memory and everything. But do you remember the first car you got after you got your job that made really good money? And then you got that car?
Yeah.
That's this.
My
Yeah, there's a lot of great memories. A lot of great Fridays, Saturday nights. I love it. I got to hang out with people, drive around. But this
that
is
is a great
luxury.
analogy, by the way.
This is luxury.
My first car was a Ford Focus.
Nice.
You know what I drive now?
What?
Mercedes Benz C300.
Okay. Well, okay. I didn't know it was that big, but yeah, it's a big gap. It's a big gap. Yeah.
So yeah, great analogy with the car. Um, Before we get to elimination, Frank has a little bug out, and Shane called it perfectly. Like this is the Frank we love to see, and I'm watching it, and I'm so glad because it gets revealed later on. And I'm just like, Frank is so full of shit. He's like, oh my god, you guys are not going to make me a scapegoat. You have to say my name.
He even fooled Sam. Sam was like, I feel like Frank is taking on too much of the political bearing.
Oh
and it's
my
getting to
God.
him. Like he even has Sam convinced, and Sam was like, he's not because I'm his partner. I would know, and you don't even know. I can't. It sucks that we don't get like full reunions for these all stars and everything. But I think this is what I'm talking about. How like Frank literally would be in the conversation of Mount Rushmores and everything, and be a person you always want to tune in to watch every season had he continued
He is
on.
just amazing, amazing, great TV. Oh, it just always comes through. But we get to go ahead and move on to the elimination. Today's elimination is going to be called Scratch Off. Goes down the way exactly we thought.
You
Uh,
scratch something off. Super
yeah,
simple.
Turbo and Nani is voted in by Veronica and Katie. They're going to face off against Amber and Fessy. And instantly, I was excited. I was like, these are two powerhouse teams. These are the two teams. Listen, as soon as I saw the cast, these are the two teams I had pegged for being in the final. I said one of these two teams are going to win.
Yep, yep.
And the weakest teams have went and put them against each other. Magnificent. As biased as I am, because I'm a huge Fessy and Amber fan, and I would love to see 90 get one. Turbo has won the hardest final there ever was. I was very excited. So that was followed by immediate disappointment that this is a non-contact elimination.
I mean, Fessy can't always get contact eliminations. He's not Leroy.
But listen, it's Guy Girl pairs and we have Turbo.
Oh, what? So Fessy should just get his like 10th hall brawl? Like,
I'm not saying
no.
I'm not saying hall brawl, but no contact whatsoever. Turbo loves contact. Fessel loves contact. Both Amber and Nani have experience in contact. Give us
So
contact.
that's why we don't do contact. That's what's great about it because they're out of their element and you got to put them somewhere new. Now, was this elimination great? No. Now, I
No.
think if you replace this elimination with the one that Anissa and Ashley lost with the water, it'd be more entertaining, I think, more balanced because
It
we
was
have
a more
height coming into
entertaining
play.
elimination.
But I still think it's a good elimination. I feel like there should be more. Like this elimination felt like it was like glass half full. Like it was almost there. Like we had a good stuff, but there should be more in there.
Something. I was not a fan. I didn't like anything about this. You scratch off a game board, um, put together a puzzle.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I wish when we do puzzle eliminations that there was a way to like disorient I can't say that word.
Disorientate.
Disorientate. Thank you. Disorientate these contestants. So that way the puzzle part is hard. It's like something I know it sounds ridiculous, but when you have to try and win a race by running straight, if you have to spin with your head down on like a broom, it's harder to
But
do.
that's where contact comes in. Hey, before you
Yeah.
start putting together your puzzle, your opponent gets to smack you in the head with a bat.
Okay, that's
Do this thing concussed.
yeah. But overall though, I mean, it's a you shoot and you don't miss, and another team like this is 2 out of the last 3 weeks we've had teams go home that were pegged to be in the finals and were like in my mind locked in. Like there's no
I didn't
way
even have them pegged for
these
the finals. These are the two teams I had pegged for win. I was like, at the end of this season, between these two teams are going to be one or two, and that could go either way.
yep. Yeah, and
I
here we
hated this
are.
elimination. I hated it so freaking much.
But what's great though is that this episode built how episodes should build. We get a
Yes.
little bit of something. Let's a recap, fun drama. Okay, we get a surprise in the middle. Oh wow, we get two big powerhouses going in. Who's going to go home? And then we get the climax at the very end after the elimination,
No,
and it leads into next
100%.
week.
This is a solid B episode for me.
Mm.
The drama was so good, especially with the mad dash, especially with the politicking, especially with the reveals and the freakouts. And it covered a week daily and a week elimination. And
Mhm.
that's fine by me. I mean, like I said, I really wish we would have had. I didn't hate the daily. I just didn't think it was that exciting to watch. I hated this elimination, but the drama and stuff was so good. I don't feel cheated at the end of the episode.
When's the
Now,
last time we had a pairs not so fast? Like that's what we need. Like these two teams would have been great doing
Paris
not
not so
so.
fast.
Like we did it during Battle of the Seasons a couple times. I honestly I can't remember the last time we did pairs for not so fast. But I think that's like the type of elimination that we should be brought back. Like All Stars, I like if it was like, hey, this week we're doing a new elimination. This week we're bringing back a classic. Like I wish that's kind of how it was. Like you should still bring in classics.
And the great thing about Not So Fast, it's not a puzzle, but but it's still physical.
And it's
It's one of the
communication, it's
better
endurance.
non-contact eliminations. And in reality, I don't see why the challenge. I mean, don't get me wrong, you always got to do something new, but I don't see why, especially on All Stars, you guys don't do more reaching back. All Stars bring back the eliminations we've already seen. That's
And that's what
okay.
they used to do. They did that on the first few seasons of
Yes,
All Stars,
I
but
thought
like
that was great.
what's cool about like an elimination like Not So Fast is that Hall Brawl is it's a hall. Like you can't really change that. You can try, but you really can't. Balls in,
They've done a lot. They did a crawling one. They did a around the corner one,
right,
and the one from Free Agents was great. Oppenheimer. We got to go in the circle. I
right.
thought that was really good. Oh, and the
But
cylinder one.
yeah, that's true. So there are some types of ones, but like that's not too much evolution where it's hit somebody. Whereas like Not So Fast, you can change the shape of a structure from a square to a triangle to a ball. Like you could have so many different things. And what's great about an elimination like that is you don't know who's gonna win until they start dragging that rope across the like the line. And you're like, oh my god. But overall, good episode. I'm really surprised Amber and Fessel went home
Super surprised.
halfway through. They didn't even make the halfway point because we had 13 teams. So they finished in eighth place. It's crazy.
Wild business. Wild business. All right. One of the things I'm really excited about is how has the power rankings moved this week?
A lot, a lot of movement. Except for one. One team has not moved. Number 7 is Melissa and Nicole. They are in the bottom. They're going to stay in the bottom. They don't really have a home. No matter what, they can't get along with each other. They can't win a daily.
And they
I, if
just got
they
punked.
if they go into elimination, I think they're gonna crumble under the pressure and communication. So, moving up to 6 is Shane and Davon. They've fallen a little bit.
You said that. I just remember Cara saying, "You, we need subtitles to understand you,"
Oh yeah.
and that was such a great burn. But go ahead,
Um,
continue.
Shane and Davon fall to 6 because I think that they have hurt their game by now going against your alliance or people you're supposed to trust, and then it still didn't go your way in the vote, and then you also lost an alliance member along the way.
This
Like
is
three
why.
bad things.
That's why Frank and Veronica are doing so good because people are going to go after Melissa, Nicole, and Shane and Davon before they even start thinking about them.
Yeah.
You just bought your. That's a minimum 2 more episodes you bought yourselves. 3 if you count Dario
Yeah,
and
well, and
Ashley.
speaking of which, that comes in at number 5 is Ashley and Dario. Guys, we don't write scripts here. That just happened. They're number 5. They're in a good spot. I don't think they're a target, but they're not really power players. They're not making any moves outside of them being in an elimination that they got thrown into. They haven't really done much. They've just been, and but here's the crazy thing. They're always going to be a number for Frank and Sam. However, I will say that it's a minimal thing, but they were talking like, oh, what are we going to do? Who's them? Who's they? Like, who's doing this stuff? And Ashley's like, I don't know. And then it cuts to Dario and he goes, all I know is we will do whatever is best for our team, which makes it seem like he's planting the seeds that he's going to turn on Frank and Sam and force Ashley to do so.
Oh, but if there's one person who we can count on to turn on somebody who they think they're aligned with, is Dario.
That's true. Yeah. Number 4 is Katie and Veronica moving up into the top. They're in the middle.
As they
The
should.
highest they've been. They won a daily. They chose a team to go in. Now, granted, Nani and Turbo didn't win, but they wanted Amber and Fessy out the whole time. That's who they wanted out. They just didn't want to say their name.
Yeah.
And I think the thing is that Nani has damage control. Turbo's going to freak out. And by doing this, they're just going to be targets again because Turbo's going to say something. He's going to make somebody mad. Nani's going to get mad. They're going to get sent back into elimination.
Nani and Turbo is going to be in the next elimination.
But speaking of which, Nani and Turbo are at 3. They performed well in multiple in dailies. They performed well this whole season. They look like they dominated that elimination. Like
And
it looked
also,
close, but I don't think it was.
I agree with you. Also, they almost made it out of this vote.
That's true.
If it wasn't for Nicole and Melissa, this vote goes their way, and they are smooth sailing. It
Right.
didn't go their way, and it really, really sucks. I can see that bringing them down. But one vote, and it was a vote that they counted on their side, and they would have been it would have been smooth sailing.
And you know what's crazy? If they wouldn't have freaked out and got the vote off of Katie and Veronica last week, none of this happens. None of it.
None of
Um,
it.
Number 2 is Adam and Steve. Take a small tumble down. They're turning into role players here. They've got all their screen time beginning of the season. They're probably just going to make the final and win it now at this point, it looks like, because good teams are knocking each other off. And
And nobody has
they're
their eyes on them. I
and if,
Frank Frank still has his, still has him in the corner of the eye, but he's a number for Frank right now, and Frank needs those numbers. Even with Nani and them going home, it looks like they have the numbers for right now. But if they don't win,
Somebody's list is going to break because I believe Adam and Steve are number 2 or 3 on Veronica's list, but they're not on Frank's. Whereas like Ashley and Dario are like number 1 on Frank's list or number 2, but they're not on Veronica's list. Like somebody's list is going to get broken here. However, though, Adam and Steve are protected by Veronica and Katie. Teams that are trying to get out good teams, they're protected by somehow. So it still works in their way. And also, I look at the matchups. I don't think there's anybody that they can't beat in an elimination at this point.
I would agree.
But number 1 is Frank and Sam. And I will tell you right now, if that final 2-minute confessional or minute confessional didn't happen from Frank at the very end of the episode, I don't have him up at number 1. Because I'm not going to lie, I was sitting there watching Deliberation and I was like, man, Amber's going to feel so dumb when she goes back and watches the episode and it's like, wait, no, it's just Veronica. It's not Frank. Because I was convinced too. I was like, no, Frank's not really doing that. And then they show all the recaps and I'm like, it was in front of me the whole time. Like,
yeah,
it's like
like
I was watching Momentum.
It seemed like he just falls into these situations. He's just giving the best advice that he can. But no, it's all deliberate, or at least he's making it seem that way. But I believe it. We've seen him do this before.
The flashback of realization that Frank has been doing this since episode 1 is the same flashback we get in Fight Club when you're like, wait, Brad Pitt's not real. Like, it's just like,
or the Usual Suspects, Kaiser Sose.
It's right there, and it's like, wait a second, okay. And then if you rewatch it, then you're like, oh, okay, yep, I see it now. But yeah, so Frank and Sam take the number 1 spot. I think ultimately they're controlling this game. Frank said it best. They have controlled everything. On top of that, though, we have to talk about Sam. Every time they go to a daily, we saw the thing. Yeah, we're going to do great in this daily. We're ready. And Frank's like, we're going to, what? She has so much confidence in us. Like, Sam is bringing morale up for Frank, and Frank is playing the game at game level.
Also, this is what some people get by judging a book by its cover. Sam comes in. She's definitely a different size, and we remember her. Nobody thought she was going to perform that really well. You even heard Frank saying just like a lot of the stuff we can't do, whatever. Sam has been pretty consistent. I'm not going to say great, but consistent. And you'd be surprised how far consistent can get you and just good enough. So hats off to her. Her and Frank are just playing really, really well, and she is doing her part. It's not, Frank is carrying most of this politically, but she's holding it down in the dailies. So, and her believing Frank the way it is gives credence that Frank is a lot more innocent than what he is, because nobody knows Sam to be a snaky player.
Right now, if we get to the end of the season and Frank and Sam win, it'll be the most obvious edit that we've just missed. Because like so here's why I'm bringing this up. So Free Agents is like one of my favorite seasons. It's the most easy rewatch season. When you rewatch it though, they're just telling you that Laurel's going to win. Like the whole time they're telling you Laurel's going to win. Laurel's going after this. She has friends. Doesn't matter. Here's her list. She's going after everybody. Nobody can beat her. She's going to, like, they're just telling you. If you go back.
I'm not going to lie. I thought that was Cara's season to win when I was first watching it.
They were leading us up that way, but Cara get hurt. We didn't know she was going to get hurt.
No one knew. Oh, it's so disappointing.
Same thing. If you watch Dirty 30, it's telling you Jordan's gonna win because every episode somebody's like, man, that guy Jordan is so good. Why wouldn't you pick Jordan? Why wouldn't you pick Jordan? Jordan the whole time.
I hate Jordan, and if I was ever to go on the challenge, he'd be my first pick easily.
And now here's the next thing. Now we go to, I'm rewatching All Stars 3 right now. I'm a Wes fan. I like watching seasons he does well on. When you rewatch All Stars 3, Wes is at the front of everything. Every episode, if he's not doing a confessional, the next scene somebody's saying his name. Almost every single scene, and he wins the season.
Only problem I see is I see Frank and Sam getting smoked in the final by almost everybody not named Veronica and Katie.
I have heard, though, that this final is not going to be won just by the most physically fit team. That's not saying that a physically fit team like Nani and Turbo are going to go in and they're going to lose. It's saying just because you're in shape doesn't mean you're going to win this final, is what I've heard.
I'm so happy I don't know who won the season.
Same. I have no idea.
I'm so happy.
But I mean, if you think about it, like All Stars 4, those first 4 checkpoints had nothing to do with being athletic or in physical shape. It was just the final 4. Like if you take that back and like, I mean, anybody could have won that final 4, really. depending on who goes home in the first four. So,
Right.
but yeah, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I think just next week's episode is gonna be fantastic. We see Turbo already freaking out. Nani's freaking out at him. I was waiting for that, like, Turbo, it's too early for this. Enough. Like,
But you know what? Nani is the Turbo Whisperer, so
mhm.
I still have them high on the list, but they're going to have a long road because they do not have the numbers right now. But that's going to do it for us. Episode 7 of the Challenge All Stars 5 Rivals. Is there any other off-show news that we need to get into? I do know the cast for season 41 has come out, and so did the name. New
Oh,
threats.
what is the name? What's the name?
Challenge 41, new threats versus vets. So it's half rookies, half vets.
I thought it
Um,
was gonna be like a fresh meat season because I also saw the cast
that
list.
sounds almost like, well, it sounds more like an invasion of the champions or something like that.
It's like a ruins. It's like a ruins without the champions versus
Mhm.
non-champions.
And they're bringing in the rookies. They're bringing in are straight up rookies. They're all
Mhm.
from all over. Never been on the challenge. Very excited for it. I think we'll get into that more sooner or later. Actually, now that I think about it, do you want to do a early 41 cast review?
We could do a cast review of just. I think we should do a cast review of just like, here's the rookies, and then
I
like
gotta actually look
here's
them up because I don't know
here's
the rookies.
here's where they're from, here's their age, here's their athletic background, here's what we know, and then we can do a vet one after that as well.
You know what? I might bring somebody on for that. One of our Big Brother. Well, you know a lot of people from Big Brother, right? You watch Big Brother.
I've never watched Big Brother.
See, see me like
If
this.
if your show requires me to watch it 5 days a week, it's not worth my time to watch.
Listen. I don't even watch the challenge every week sometimes. So what the fuck are you telling me? But that's gonna do it for us. Make sure you follow us on all socials at LWC Podcast. Follow me at Malik_MTV. Follow Tyler Louder at Lord Louder. Once again, I am MTV Malik. He is Tyler Louder. This is Love War Challenges. Peace.